Doug, thank you for coming on today. I do appreciate it.
Hey, welcome, man. Thank you for having me on the show, man. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. The honor really is.
Honor's all mine, my friend.
Can't think of more of a better guest to have than you, to be honest.
Well, I can think of a few.
But, you're one of them. So I've got a lot of stuff I want to run through with you today.
Well, let's get to it, buddy. I'm ready.
If there's anything you don't want to talk about or anything, I say this to everyone, just say that's fine, and then we'll move on
Absolutely.
to the next question. So the first thing I would like to ask you is, let's talk about OVW.
Let's talk about OVW, man. What do you want to know?
So it had a very, very, very successful Netflix show back in September, and I managed to watch it all, and I think it opened your eyes to what actually goes into wrestling, the behind the scenes, the secrets, and I think it opens people's eyes instead of people just thinking, "Oh, wrestling's just this." It's a lot. It opens your eyes.
It does. It pulled the curtain back a little more than I was comfortable with, but the director, Greg Whitley, I think it's Whitley. He directed and did the show Last Chance U and Cheer, and I think he's done a couple other things too. And he did such an amazing job capturing a story. He made a story out of coming and filming for 3 months. They came in and filmed through the summer. And, we let them in, OVW, let them back in the locker room, and they traveled to some house shows with us, live events with us, and then stayed and filmed a lot of our pay-per-views throughout the summer, and captured a lot of stuff that people wouldn't normally. It captured a lot of stuff that people wouldn't normally see in wrestling. They got to see, what it's like for some of these kids or some of these athletes that are trying to make it in professional wrestling, all their trials and tribulations and everything they go through. And it also, the main thing it did, it let everybody know who OVW is. A lot of people already knew who Al Snow was through his successful career. And then some probably knew who I was through my successful career. And then, but not too many people knew the other kids that were in Ohio Valley Wrestling. So it really gave them a lot of exposure. And so, before the show came out, nobody knew who they were. Now that the show's out, everybody across the country or everybody around the world who's seen the Netflix show, they know who these athletes are now. And it's been nothing but good, positive feedback and good, positive energy for Ohio Valley Wrestling, and also everybody involved who was showcased and who was just on the Netflix docuseries, the Wrestlers, period.
I mean, you've got some people on there. You've got Shearer, you've got Jesse Goddard, I think his name is. You've got that Hollywood, Haley J, which that match with her mum and everything. And I think that captivated it. I think that was quite unique and different, because when you're involving family, some people think, is it real? Is it this? Because you've got to play emotions and stuff.
Yeah. And that whenever Greg did such a good job filming this and putting this story together, he took it. When you watch it, if you watch it, you'll go on an emotional roller coaster. At least when I watched it, I teared up. I was like, ooh, and I was there. I did it. I filmed it. And I'm a wrestler. I'm in it, but the way he did it and told the story and put the music to it and everything and made it dramatic, it was so well done. And kudos to Greg, and I think our show got nominated for an award. I don't know if we I don't know if they've went through the process to see if we won yet, but it got nominated for an award. Not sure if we're going to get a season 2 yet. We may know that after the first of the year. We all have our fingers crossed, hoping. But yeah, it really put a lot of these athletes on the map, like Cash Flow, Hollywood Haley J, Shira, Jesse Godders, others like Freya the Slaya, Layla Gray, Luke Curtis, Eric Darkstorm, to get bundles, Tony Gunn, Cal, one that didn't show that much, but another individual who was slightly on her, Cal Hero, and Joe Mack. I can name off our whole roster because everybody, Omar Amir, Luscious Lawrence, everybody was on it at one point or the other, but they showcased a couple, 4 or 5 of these athletes.
Yeah.
Because there just wasn't enough time to showcase everybody, so they just picked who they thought would be the most interesting, I guess, and then showcased them and kind of told their story. And some everybody in the world has an interesting story. When it comes to professional wrestlers, we are not like everybody else in the world. And some of our stories are very interesting, I guess you could say. And Greg did a great job capturing that and telling the stories of these athletes and telling the story of Ohio Valley Wrestling, and with Al Snow and Matt Jones, telling their, story because of ownership, butting heads. And it was just so well done, man. And I've watched it like 4 or 5 times all the way through, because it was so good.
I think what's so good about the series is obviously it goes through the whole emotion of like you've just mentioned, the characters and everything, and it goes through like it's not just putting on a show. It's like I watched an episode like where Al Snow and Greg and everyone were on about the numbers for the pay-per-view buys, what they need and stuff.
Yeah.
And what they need because if they don't get it, then they can't pay the wrestlers, this, that, and the other. And it just goes to show, like, it's not just what's the word? It's not just a job. It's like it's passion. You can tell that everyone there wanted to be there, and it's one of them. It's people's livelihoods. It's from what I could tell that you guys are just like molded together in family, and it's just that's what was good.
We are Ohio OVW organization, a wrestling organization that is trying to grow and become a huge entity, and trying to get out there. And everybody in the locker room and everybody who's associated with OVW wants OVW to succeed. And unfortunately, it does take money. It takes money to run a business. It takes money to make money. And Al has done such a great job up to the point of 3 years ago when they brought in other investors when COVID hit. COVID really put a hurting on the company, because we couldn't go out, couldn't do anything, couldn't make any money. Nobody could, for that matter. And, we rely on people coming to our events to, keep the lights on, to pay the bills, because they come in, they buy ticket sales, help us pay the bills. And also pay the wrestlers and stuff. But Al did an amazing job up to that point to keep OVW alive, because Al purchased Ohio Valley Wrestling from my uncle Danny Davis, who was the founder of OVW. Yeah. And with that being said, my uncle trained me, and I was the very first student in OVW. So me being here with Al and being a part of the Netflix show Wrestlers, and being a part of the weekly live TV show, and then being a part of our pay-per-views, man, there's something in here that makes me, I want OVW to survive too, because I was there at the very beginning. I was there before OVW was even born, I guess. So I was there through the birthing process of OVW. So I've got some stock in OVW too. I want it to succeed as well.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize that the people like yourself, you've got Batista, Shelton Benjamin, you got Brock Lesnar, you got Randy Orton, you got John Cena, just countless people that I could name there. You've got even more. People don't realize that OVW was their stepping stone to what they are now.
Absolutely.
And
back in the day when the WWE had a developmental system in Louisville, Kentucky, yes, you had all those greats that came through that first class when through OVW, and just are stars and legends now, I guess, or veterans, legends, future Hall of Famers. And, OVW has helped produce some major superstars in wrestling.
it sure has. And no doubt it's just going to keep skyrocketing to success. 2024 is going to be a good year for OVW.
You are 100% correct. We've got a lot of good stuff in store. I'm not really at liberty to talk about that yet. What's in store? But a lot of good things are happening in OVW. A lot of things are going to happen in OVW, and there's going to be people. Of course, you can tune in to. I think we're on YouTube, so you can watch OVW on YouTube now. We're also on the Fight TV network, Fight TV app, and so you can catch that if you're not local here to Louisville, Kentucky. You can catch our pay-per-views. You go to ovwrestling.com and you can catch our pay-per-views. So we're trying to get out there as much as we can and have as many eyes see us after this Netflix show came out. I mean, so many people have been tuning in to catch OVW. And because OVW is a little different than some of the other companies, I think people are becoming fans and watching because we actually we tell stories. We have storylines, we have stories, we have characters. We don't just go out there and have a match that doesn't mean anything. Everything we do has a reason. There's why we're doing it. And Al is huge and always having a reason and answering the why. I learned Al's, I've been around the wrestling and sport of wrestling for 30 years, but when I come back to OVW and started working under Al, he's even taught me some stuff, and you're never too old to learn never too old to learn. I don't know everything, but it's 2024 is going to be a huge year for OVW. So people we're going to be coming to, I can't talk about it. It's going to be a big year. I'm not at liberty to say yet until after the first of the year. So sorry.
Pretty much just big
surprise. Yeah, big things. Just know big things are going to happen with OVW after the first year. So tune in, watch, and see.
But so you just kind of said you're going somewhere. You didn't say where.
Yeah, I kind of let the cat out of the bag, didn't I? Oops. Tune in after the first of the year. You will see. Speaking of after the first of the year, we have our Nightmare Rumble coming up. Both women's and men's Nightmare Rumble coming up. January 6th, I believe, to kick off the new year. And yesterday, December 16th, we just had our last pay-per-view of the year, Christmas Chaos. And I think you can go on ovwrestling.com and you can purchase it and watch it still, I think. It was amazing. It was probably our best pay-per-view of the year. It was really, really good.
Just going to keep getting better.
These guys, and plus, we're getting more and more athletes coming to OVW, more and more professional wrestlers wanting to be a part of OVW. I think I will accredit, the Netflix series Wrestlers for that. because people know who we are, where we are, what we're doing. We're going places, we're growing, and just a lot of good stuff's happening. And yes, we are going somewhere. And tune in after the first year to find out where we're going.
Can I ask a question? And is it a yes or no?
Ask away.
Is it a country or a state?
States. Well,
Okay.
states. We are working on other stuff.
Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yep, that's about all I can say right now.
The only thing we'll say at that is that OVW is going to be a big year for 2024.
Huge year for 2024.
I'm not wait. And January the 6th, I will tune in. You can mark my word.
Tune in. You can, like I said, ovwrestling.com. You can buy the pay-per-view there. I think that's about the only place you can buy it now. You used to be able to buy it on the Fight TV app or network. You still may. I'm not for sure. But, we're just going through a lot of changes right now, and for the better. And because of this Netflix show, The Wrestlers, man, it's helping take OVW to a whole nother level.
So, not wait. So how long? You said you were as the first one of the first class that you went through. How long has it been since you returned to OVW?
I've been back with OVW for the last 3 years, right after the pandemic, whenever the whole world started opening up. And there's an interesting story behind that, which I'd love to tell if you have time or you need me to.
Yeah, I have time.
I didn't walk away. I kind of just put wrestling on the back burner in about 2000 and I want to say 8 or 9, something like that. Because I think I did like a charity wrestling event, and then I just kind of said I need to pick up another career, which I went into a medical sales career, which has been very, very good to me. And then I focused on that career, and then the pandemic hit, and of course nobody could work. Everybody had to stay home. Yada yada yada. Everybody knows that song and dance. And then everything started to open back up. And I lived in Indiana at that time. And a buddy of mine, I didn't know he's a buddy of mine now, but I would get fan mail from fans, and they would send me pictures and trading cards and stuff like that, and a return envelope. And they would ask me if I could sign these cards for them and pictures, and I would, and I'd send it back to them. And then I got this one envelope from a military vet who said that he collects autographs from wrestlers. He's a huge wrestling fan, loved wrestling, and he collects autographs and stuff that helps him with his PTSD. And I was just, and he wrote a long letter saying he was a fan of the Basham brothers and stuff like that, which I'm like, wow, I have a fan. I have one fan. But so then I signed the letter and signed everything. And the story, the letter and the picture touched me so much. I used to go to this restaurant right by my house. It was called Harbor and Hops. And I got to know everybody. It was like the TV series Cheers. You'd walk in, everybody, Norm, everybody knew who you were. Everybody knows your name. So I'd walk in and everybody knew who I was and stuff. And there's the bartender was a wrestling fan. So I would always go up there and talk to him and just, chit chat and stuff. So I took this envelope in and took these pictures out and showed the bartender these pictures because the letter and that the Army veteran sent me was touching, and I shared it with him. And as I was showing him the pictures, this gentleman walked by behind me and he stopped and goes, "Oh, hey, I took those." And I stopped and excuse me, hey, hi, my name's Doug. He goes, "Oh, hey, my name's Greg. I'm the owner of the restaurant here." And he goes, you may remember me. I took all these pictures of all this a long time ago over in the Quadrangle when Nightmare Danny, Danny Davis was first starting Ohio Valley Wrestling. And I went, "Oh, I remember you, yes." So his name's Greg Brown, and he owns Harbor and Hops here in Jeffersonville, Indiana. So if anybody ever travels over here, go to the restaurant. But amazing food. There's a plug for Greg. But anyway, ever since that day, Greg and I just kind of connected and became good friends. And he said, "Hey, I have all these old pictures of Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Rico Constantino, Shelton Benjamin, and Russ McCullough, and a few others." And he goes, "Do you think Danny or Jim Cornette would want any of these?" I said, "I don't know." So I contacted my uncle, and he goes, "No, I'm not interested in them." And he goes, "Why don't you try Al? Al might be interested." I go, "Oh, that's right. Al might be interested." So I contacted Al and said, "Hey, Al, Doug Basham." We chit-chatted a little bit because we hadn't talked in years, and chit-chatted for a little bit and said, "Hey, I have these pictures and this and that." And he goes, "You know what? Why don't you come by?" Because back then, Kentucky was still closed down and you couldn't gather in groups. And Indiana had just started to open up, and you could only have so many people in a building in groups, which had to be distanced and stuff. And if you hear a bark, it's my dog. He's over here looking at something outside, so he may hear a bark or two.
Yeah, but my dog's in the other room.
Yeah. So I went to the place where he was doing his TV tapings because he was filming like 2 TVs at once in case they shut everything down again. And I went over there. He goes, "Why don't you come over, watch the show, tell me what you think about the show, and then I'll talk to you, when we're done." I said, "Okay, all right, sounds good." Because wrestling, I'm a wrestler. I love wrestling, and it's Ohio Valley Wrestling where I started. So I went to the building where he was filming and watched the show, sitting there. And then all of a sudden I started doing this. Ooh, getting that itch. Al saw it. He knew it. And Al's a very, very, I give it to him. He's a very smart guy, very calculating, and he does everything for a reason. There's a reason why he does everything. And so we sat there and we talked. He asked me how what I thought of the show and stuff like that. And I said, it was great. This and that. And I asked him about the pictures. He said, "No, I'm not interested." And I was like, "Well, okay." So all I wanted to do was just come and sell Al pictures, right? That was my only motivation. But Al, he had an ulterior motive. So he got me in there and I was talking to him about the show, and I met all the current roster, and I'm sitting there doing this, itching. He goes, "Hey, Doug, why don't you come back next week, and would you be interested in helping me agent like one of our tag matches?" Because Al knew I was a tag team guy. I love tag team wrestling. And I go, yeah, absolutely. I've not got much going on. With COVID, you can't go anywhere, do anything that much. So I said, okay. So I come back next week, and then, man, I had that major itch going on then, and Al saw it. And then Kentucky opened up, and they moved back to the original Davis Arena. And he goes, "Hey, why don't you want to come over to the Davis Arena and actually get a little bit more involved?" I go, yeah, why not? So I did that. And then he just kept feeding me more, and drawing me in. He threw out the hooked me. He was fishing me. He was just reeling me in. And then it got to the point where he didn't have to ask me to show up anymore. I just was showing up and just doing it. And he was giving me more responsibility as being part of an agent. And then brought me in and part of the writing team, creative. And then eventually asked me if I wanted to be the head trainer of the OVW Wrestling Academy. And I said, yes. So now, 3 years later,
3 different times.
3 years later, I'm the head trainer at OVW for the advanced class for the school that they have. The head trainer for our roster when guys want to come and train. I'm an agent, road agent, and a TV agent for matches. I help with creative on the writing team, and I'm just Al's right hand man, And there's only one other person in that building when we have TV every Thursday night. that knows more than me or loves it more than me, and that's Al himself.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. So it's one of them that you've got. That story that you've just told me. It's one of them that you can like relate to. One good thing to come. So I found with me that I should have gone to Mexico through COVID, but it got postponed. It got postponed twice. So I decided to me and my wife decided to get our money back, and then invest it.
Yep.
So the house that I'm in now is technically Mexico.
That's a pretty good trade, I think, right?
That's the way I did it. So we got the money back, and we saved up money through COVID, and then we just invested it in a house, and we've been here 3 years since. So I think I tell people that through COVID, you can either remember it for the bad. Obviously, COVID was bad for everyone, and my wife and I, obviously, we lost some family along the way. But we turned COVID into a positive for us, and it's like just the story that you just told me, you turned COVID into a positive. So now you are all these things that you have just named off. You have like a little story, and I think that's really good.
I agree 100%, and I also agree with you. And, sorry for the loss for COVID. There's many people that, do the same thing. And congratulations on your house. So it's
Thank
like every time you come home, you're going on a vacation to Mexico, right?
Yeah. I'll soon get there. Get there.
Well, good luck to you on that one.
Yeah, it's been a long time. The thing is, I keep saying, when I was a kid, I saw America on TV, right? I saw just whether it was wrestling, in the movies, this, that, and the other. I always said, I want to go to America. I want to do this. I want to do that. Things that just keep on getting in the way. And do you know what I mean?
Well,
honestly, life just gets in the way.
Keep that bucket list growing, and eventually you'll get there. How old are you? Mind me asking how old you are?
Have a guess.
24.
I'm 24 in February.
How did I know? You'd think I looked you up or something. No, I just guessed. That's
a really good guess. That's a really good guess. So yeah,
I'm a good guesser. I know if you were a female, I would have said 21, no matter what. Because if you're younger than 21, you want to be 21. If you're older than 21, you want to be 21. That's a little. There's a little hack for everybody.
People keep saying that I look like I'm in my 30s though, but it's one of them, isn't it?
You look great, buddy.
Yeah. Not as good as you. Let me have a guess how old you are.
Oh, I'm all over the internet. You already know how old I am. I'm sure you looked it up. But don't believe everything you read on the internet. Wikipedia is wrong.
It is, but it's probably not wrong about your age, though, is it?
No, it is wrong about my age, even. Yes.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it says that you're. Correct me if I'm wrong. It says that you're 52.
I am 51, my friend. It is wrong. Got me off. It's off by a year. Yep.
That's crazy.
51 years young, my friend.
You don't look it, man. Honestly, you look like you did in 2002.
I appreciate that, man. I need you to be my publicist.
If it helps me get to America, I'm there.
Yeah, come on over. Got a job for you. But no,
hey.
I still try to stay in shape,
Yeah.
And I still eat good. And I just had I just wrestled. And there's some things I would love, if you allow me to, I'd love to try and clear some things up. Some of the dirt sheets and magazines got some things wrong. I just wrestled in Waukesha, Wisconsin at a buddy of mine's independent promotion. Bless you. Independent promotion.
Yes.
For Greater Lake Championship Wrestling, GLCW. His name is David Hero. He is the promoter. And he every year for the past 25 years, he's held a wrestling event, and it's just grown and gotten bigger and bigger and bigger over the years. And it's called Blizzard Brawl. It's kind of like the WrestleMania of the independent wrestling. and everybody wants to be a part of this show. And David Hero does such an amazing job putting a show on and getting it ready, and it's so well done. And he's a great individual himself. Actually, a good friend of mine as well. Actually, he's Al Snow's best friend, actually. And I wrestled his son Cal Hero, because Cal Hero he's one of the students, one of the talent on OVW. He's an OVW superstar, and he come at training. He's my number one student. He is one of the best talents that I have seen in a very long time. He's 21 years old. He conducts and carries himself like a 15-year veteran in the ring. And he's been training and wrestling for, I think, 5 years now, I think. 21, let's see, three years with me. Maybe 3, 4, close, somewhere in there. Grew up around wrestling. He gets it. He has that it factor. So everybody watch and look up Cal Hero and remember that name and remember this kid, because he's going to be a superstar. He already is a star. He's really good. But where was I go? Wrestled Cal because he was my student at Blizzard Brawl, and one of the stipulation was if Cal beat me by pinfall or submission, I had to retire from in-ring duties.
Yeah, that's the question I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
as well.
He did not beat me and he did not submit me. Now, if we would have had more time, he would have beat me, because he hit me with his finisher right at 2 seconds left to go in the match. We went to full 20-minute time limit, so he didn't beat me. And then Cal wasn't happy with that, so he wanted 5 more minutes, and I'm like, I can't go 5 more minutes. I can't even go 5 more seconds. But anyway, I got up and we went 5 more minutes, which only lasted maybe 10 seconds. As he hit me with a combination of pins. I luckily kicked out. And then he got up and hit me with my own finishing maneuver and then covered me. And when he went to go cover me, 2 lackeys came in and broke it up. Now, some people would think that that's a DQ. I lost by a DQ, but even the referee didn't want it to end that way. He just threw the match out. And so Cal did not beat me. He did not submit me. So I did not retire. I am not retired. I still have some in-ring matches left in me, and I will do it over the course of 2024.
I'm glad you said it all that. Well, you've kind of just told another story, because that was on my notepad. That was a question, so I can tick that off, because I saw that you were retired.
Yeah,
and I was like,
not retired. I am not retired from in my in-ring wrestling. No.
Yeah,
still got some plans
for
for 2024.
Who, if you could pick your final opponent, who would you want it to be?
Cal. Yep, because he's my number one student. And for my very last match, I would love to, whether win, lose, or draw, face that kid. One more time. I'll beat his ass this time. Oh, sorry. I'll beat him this time. Sorry. Didn't mean to curse.
All right. It's all right. Yeah, that's a good question. Because I had that, and I was thinking, when do I ask it? When? And then you said that story.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you for that, because that cleared up a few questions I had.
Yeah, I don't know where I don't know where it came out first, or maybe it came out on the dirt sheets, or it came out in a magazine article. I'm not for sure which one came out first, but I think one article said he's retired. Then I think people just picked up on it and put it out there. And I don't mean it's just an honest mistake, obviously. But I just want to try and clear that up and let get it out there that no, I'm not retired. I'm not finished yet.
See,
the day's coming. Don't get me wrong; it is coming, because I'm 51 and this stuff hurts. You know what I mean? It hurts. It hurts at 30, let alone 51. So
it just pisses me off, like when I see dirt sheets just talking about wrestlers and everything, and then social media to me is like the root of all evil, as in, like Facebook, for example, or Twitter. I'm just a normal wrestling fan, right? Who will look on Twitter or X
Yep.
and Facebook, and I'll see, like, say for example, if you come up like as an article that Doug Basham is retired after losing to Paul, and because of this, and this, and the date, and I'll press onto it and I'll have a look. Right, no, till I see you or the promotion post about it or something, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I will only believe it if it's come from like a top, and I mean top, like person who's like normally inside, sneaky, do you know, like source.
Well,
But
I'm hoping you can help get that out there. Hopefully this will be a platform to put it out there, to maybe somebody will pick up on it and go, somebody, misunderstood information, because it's all it was. I think it was just a misunderstanding. I don't know. I guess maybe somebody didn't hear or understand that the referee threw it out and thought maybe it was a DQ. DQ's a loss, so he's got retired. Cal won.
Yeah.
That's not the case. That wasn't the case. It's a huge mess up there. Because
then you get
wrestling.
Shit, it's crazy. And then you get the people like in the comments section, like just put random stuff, and then they just talk rubbish about the wrestlers and this and the other. And it grips me. It really does grip me, because, say for example, you travel the world, as in when you was in WWE, OVW, you've come to the UK, I've seen, and you've done you do your bit, you do your own journeys, you go for lead your family, the ring, landing on that, what's underneath that, mats and wood, it can't be painful. I mean, no, it's painful. You do everything, you risk your life pretty much, because one bump goes wrong, you're buggered pretty much. So I don't think people understand like what wrestlers actually go through.
Well, hopefully, everybody's entitled to their opinion, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Whether positive, negative, or just, neutral, it doesn't matter to me. It's, as long as I can, if they're talking, whether it be positive or negative, that's a plus. You know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah.
Not everybody's going to be a fan of what you do or of what you do now or what you did, and that's that's a-okay, because if you're talking, whether it be positive, negative, or just nothing at all, or neutral, that means I'm doing my job, right? And I'm just glad to be able to still be able to wrestle, still be around wrestling, and being able to do what I do when I can do it, and just do as much as I can. And yes, every time you do take a slam or a hip toss or a backdrop or something, I mean, you're taking the risk of being able to permanently injure yourself. There's been many wrestlers that have had to have neck fusions. There's been some that have died in the ring. There's been some that have been paralyzed. So people can talk and say what they want, but until they actually get in there and take a fall, really know what it's like, which is okay. Everybody, everybody can talk, it's okay. It's their rights. They have a right to do that.
Yeah. So another question I've got here for you, which is, it was kind of interesting, because when I first watched it as a kid, I was like, who the hell is behind? Correct me if I'm wrong, this could be wrong, but this is what I've looked up and this is what I've seen and guessed. So back in 2006, you and your brother was on ECW. Uh-huh. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You was the two masked men with Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman's henchman, yes.
How did that come about?
Well, me and Danny were just kind of sitting at home. They'd wrapped us up with JBL, and they wanted us to have a singles career, right? So they moved Danny to Raw, and they moved me to SmackDown. Well, neither one of us, our singles ideas didn't translate and didn't work, so they set us at home. And then they developed ECW, and Paul Heyman needed like bodyguards, and they said, "Oh, the Bashams are sitting at home, let's use them." So they put us under the SWAT gear and called us Paul Heyman's henchman. That's how that happened.
Was there ever any plans to further that? Because obviously Paul Heyman left in late 2006, early 2007, didn't it?
When he left, we were doomed. we were done.
What was it like for that short time being under Paul Heyman?
Paul's great. I had no issues with Paul. He's done nothing but try to help me anytime I ever had any interactions with him. Just the same as, Jim Cornette and same as Danny Davis. He had a job to do, and, he was a very interesting guy to talk to, smart, knows wrestling way better than me, and just had a different way of thinking about wrestling, because everybody's got their viewpoint of how they think wrestling should be and go. And he had his viewpoint, he had his vision, had his way, and he was very, very, very interesting to work with.
Yeah. Did you ever compete on that ECW? If I'm right, did you ever have like a match? The old ECW.
Say that again. Your accent, I didn't quite pick it.
Sorry, did you ever have a match on ECW in 2006?
To WCW?
No, ECW. Sorry.
Well, ECW. No, I did not. The only thing that we did with ECW, yeah, as a matter of fact, I did, was the One Night Stand. ECW's One Night Stand. We were in the Battle Royal. Because remember when JB at the Hammerstein Ball, and then down and Raw went up into the balcony and sat there during ECW's pay-per-view. Man, let me tell you about that. Woo! JBL and the ECW fans are loyal to the core, man. They are a different breed of fan, which is awesome. You know what I mean? For a brand of wrestling to have a fan so loyal and so dedicated that they would just do anything for you, which is awesome to have fans like that. When we walked into, they had a couple of matches, and then the doors opened and SmackDown and Raw came to their pay-per-view and invaded them. Man, you could feel the hatred. You could feel it. As we walked in, man, I was on watch, looking to make sure nothing shiny was going to come at me. Nobody's going to throw anything at me or at us, because I was on guard. I'm like, man, these fans hate us. They hate us, which is great. It's good as a wrestler to be able to generate that type of emotion out of someone, which is what we do. And man, kudos to the ECW fans, because they had me nervous. I was like, I'm not going to make it up to the balcony, unscathed. But and then after that whole ECW pay-per-view happened, we went down, had some sort of battle royal, and got in there and fought and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess I did. It wasn't Paul Heyman's ECW, it was WWE's ECW.
Yeah, that's just another story itself, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yes, it is.
That ECW One Night Stand 2006 was so funny.
It was
because you had Paul Heyman talking about JBL and everything, and it was just funny.
Yeah, it was good. Them two went back and forth. Great promos, man. Great sells of pay-per-views and stuff. Paul Heyman's great on the mic. So is JBL. There's a lot of people that are really good on the mic, but that was some good banter back and forth. Because
one of the lines that Paul Heyman said, "Oh, you need to hide your wife. It's Edge." And then he said and then correct me if I'm wrong. He said he's got two words for it. Matt freaking Hardy, and then Edge went.
Yeah.
I was just creasing because that was so funny.
Yeah. Clever one-liners, man. He's a verbal genius.
Yeah. And then with JBL, he said to JBL, the only reason you was a WWE champion for a year is because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays.
Yeah, no, that was funny. Oh, that was great.
That was good stuff.
That was great. Yeah, good stuff.
Do you, from your time in WWE, do you have anything that you've kept like memory wise or gear wise or?
Well, I have all my gear. I'll never ever get rid of any of my gear. I have everything. I keep it all for memory. The only thing I gave away was a pair of my wrestling tights. I went to Ireland when I was traveling, because when my career was done with WWE and my career was done with TNA, I wanted to travel the world for a couple of years before I, decided to start looking into doing something else while I was still wrestling. And I went over to Ireland, and I had a pair of red SOD, Secretaries of Defense tights that I wore and took over with me. And there was this kid. He was 8 or 9 years old, and he had a brain tumor or brain cancer, and a huge wrestling fan. And he was a huge fan of mine. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I have a fan. It's like I was a bad guy, and Jimmy, but he was a huge Basham brother fan for some reason, and not Danny, but mine, probably because I was the one that was over there. But huge fan. He came to the promoters, because I was staying with the promoter at the promoter's house in Ireland. He came over to the promoter's house. I sat down. We had lunch with him, and we just chit chatted and talked, and then we watched some videos and stuff like that. And I was told beforehand that he was a huge fan, and that he probably wasn't going to make it through the summer. He was probably going to pass on. That touched my heart. And he came to the very last. Do you remember? And not, I didn't do it because of this, but do you remember over there in England, there was an old Coca-Cola commercial where this kid was at a football and he was walking back.
Yeah.
Again, and who was it? It was Green, I guess, threw him his jersey. So there you go.
Yeah.
Kid, real happy. Well, I kind of had a moment like that, where it was the last match that I was there, and of course I washed my gear every time, right? But I'd wore my black tights, and I had my red ones in the bag, and I was, I didn't know if I'd ever see this young gentleman again. So I gave him, I said, here, man, here's a souvenir, gave him my red tights. And when I come back again to wrestle for Irish Whip Wrestling, I asked how, I can't remember his name. I hate it that I can't remember his name, but I asked how he was, and they said that he had passed away, and his dad was, almost in tears. And he said, "Do you want to know? I want to tell you something, Doug." He goes, "While he was in the hospital on his deathbed, he had your tights right there with him." I was like, wow, that was awesome. So, things like that make me happy and bring me joy, that I could bring some sort of joy to somebody's life like that. And to have that story told back to me, I started bawling. I started crying. I was like, oh my God, because I want to, just such a touching story.
I mean,
a lot of people know that story. What's that?
I'm feeling a bit.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's up now. I mean,
not a lot of people know that story. I don't tell that story much, because every time I do, I get glassy eyed.
Thank you for sharing that, to be honest. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, yeah. It's this what we said earlier, stories throughout your career and what you've, when I've been on talking to you now for nearly 15 minutes, and you as a person, very humble guy for coming on here, and I can't thank you enough, to be honest, for coming on, because I've tried to reach out to a few people, and not many people give you the chance, to try to start this.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Anything I can do to help, appreciate you reaching out and being patient while we try to make it work,
Yeah.
Everybody's busy,
I grew literally watching you, and the fact that I'm talking to one of my favorite tag teams,
awesome.
one half of one of my favorite tag teams is surreal to me. Surreal to me. And it's truly is an honor. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Well, thank
and
you
all these stories you're telling. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for being a fan. You know, and I hope all those years of abuse I put my body through, you know, brought you some entertainment and joy.
Don't say it like that.
What's that?
I said, don't say it like that.
Well, I hope it did.
Yeah, seriously, it did. I mean, you're a former 2-time WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champion. You OVW first class. You pretty much got like 10 jobs with OVW. You've got,
literally, right?
Yeah, you're on a Netflix hit series with an award pending. We don't know. You've literally had such a good career, and you can pass all your knowledge and what you are doing, pass all your knowledge down and everything. And I mean, you've worked with Paul Heyman. Not many people can say that. So,
not a lot of people wanted to work with Paul Heyman. I'm joking. Paul's a genius. He's a genius.
You can pretty much say you're a Paul Heyman guy.
I could say I worked with Paul Heyman. I wouldn't say I'm a Paul Heyman guy. I would probably fall more under the lines of a Jim Cornette guy, probably.
Yeah.
Danny Davis, of course, he's my uncle. He trained me, but Jim Cornette had a big hand in a lot of what I did. And another guy that I want to give props to, I don't know if many people, I think a lot of people starting to get to know him, a guy who really helped me learn how to tell stories in the ring with my wrestling was a gentleman by the name of Rip Rogers, the hustler Rip Rogers. And that guy, I mean, people have their opinion about him or whatever. I think he's great. Love him. Helped me so much. Wrestled him many a times. And when you wrestle someone who's a veteran in the ring, that is really when you learn. And wrestled him so many times. He taught me so much and learned so much from him. And, kudos to Rip Rogers. I love the guy.
Yeah. I mean, all these stories you tell, you tell, and it's not many people in the wrestling business can say it. I mean, if you think about it, who you've been in the ring with and who you've been around in your time in WWE, TNA, Irish Whip Wrestling, you've ECW for your short stint, you've been, I mean, I'll just name who you've been in the ring with: Batista, Big Show, Orlando Jordan, JBL, Chavo Guerrero, the late great Eddie Guerrero. I mean, the list goes
on. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, John Cena.
The list just goes on.
Booker T, Rey Mysterio, man, Rob Van Dam.
The list just goes on.
It goes on and on and on and on and on. I could name so many more, and I've even been in there with the greats like the late great Tracy Smothers. Let me plug my computer in here real quick so it doesn't pop off on us. Yeah. Tracy Smothers, greats, Jerry Lawler, Superstar Bill Dundee, Dutch Mantell,
pretty much everyone in it.
The late great Buddy Land. I mean, I've had the opportunity and been fortunate enough to be in there with some of the greats and been being taught by some Wildfire, Tommy Rich. I don't know if you know any of these names, but maybe when people hear these, that they'll know. I mean, I've been very blessed and very fortunate with my career. Been in the ring with Nightmare Danny Davis many times. He's beat the crap out of me so many times. But that's how you learn back in the day.
Yeah,
you can't do that these days. But
what was it like being in the ring with Los Guerreros?
Oh, man. It was a go to school moment, right? Because when we got in the ring with Los Guerreros, they're so good and have so much experience and so much knowledge and so smooth that me and Danny, when we moved up to WWE, we thought we were good. I mean, we were good. Okay. We were good. Also, I'm not being cocky or arrogant. I'm just saying we were very confident in our ability in the ring. But when we got in the ring with Eddie and Chavo, it was like going from high school, skipping college, going straight to pro. It was such a huge difference. Bigger, faster, stronger, psychology. It was a different animal, and it was a learning experience for us. And, when we won them over, we won their confidence. We won that, they started to teach us the ways of WWE and how to survive and make it in WWE. So, loved Chavo, loved Eddie to death, and owe them guys so much to our tag team advancement in the WWE. It was great to work with guys, the veterans, taking us under their wing and teaching us the ways.
Yeah, I mean, I was 5 when Eddie passed away, and just when you watch his videos on YouTube, and he is one person who I wish was still around, and I wish I could have met. He's in my Mount Rushmore of people who is the best to ever lace up some boots.
My dog is chewing on my shoe. Kim, pause one moment. Oh my gosh, I'll be right back. Hey, that's my good shoes, my dress shoe. Hey, get off that. You better not hate that. Boy. So sorry. Sorry. I should have known better. Yeah. Oh, come over here and act like you're. Come here. Come here and say hi. Come on, get over. Come here, you little bugger. Stay out of the world. There you go. It's my little buddy right here. It's my little Cavapoo buddy. Yeah, this is Ollie. Say hi, Ollie. Say hi, buddy. Yeah.
Bless.
Say hi.
Such a beautiful dog.
He's my little buddy. He helps me get me through the day.
I mean, my dog's a French bulldog crossed with a Jack Russell and a pug.
That's a mix.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture after. I'll show you.
I bet has he got a pancake face?
To be honest, no.
No, really? Oh,
Yeah.
I guess Jack Russell and him probably.
More Jack Russell than anything.
All right, sorry. Didn't mean to.
But yeah, Eddie is one of them who I grew up like. I can't say I grew up watching, but grew up looking at. He's in my Mount Rushmore of people who I would easily put in there. The one thing about him is obviously everyone knows he had his struggles and stuff, and he came back and he redeemed himself and stuff. One promo that lives in my head rent free is the one that he did with Brock Lesnar in 2004. Well, just before he was going to have his match at No Way Out for the title, where he says, what did he say? When Brock Lesnar said he's an addict and stuff, but then he goes, yeah, he is an addict, but he's addicted to the love and everything, from the crowd, and that's a promo. That's probably one of the best promos I've ever seen, because it's real. It's real, and it's straight to the heart.
Shot from the hip on that one, and just reacted to what he said.
Yeah, Eddie's top 10, easy. Top 10 best wrestlers in the world. My top 4 Mount Rushmores, just to ever. Great in the ring, great charisma, great on the mic, all round nice guy. Everyone praises him because of how professional he is.
Definitely in my top 5 guys in my career that I've wrestled was with Eddie, because I've wrestled Eddie in singles. I wrestled him in tag. I mean, when we first got moved up, here's an interesting story. We first got moved up. We debuted in Pensacola, Florida against Rikishi and Spanky, Brian Kendrick, and of course we won. And then we had a couple more matches where we would continue to win. And then they put us in there against Eddie Guerrero and Tajiri when they were tag champs back in 2003, I think. And at that time, they were feuding with the world's greatest tag team, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. And Danny and I went out there and had a match with Eddie and Tajiri. And I mean, just tore the house down. Did an amazing job. And someone had told me that Shelton and Charlie were sitting at the monitor, just watching, and I can't remember who it was that told me this, but someone said that Shelton turned to Charlie and said, after the match was over, turned to Charlie and said, "Why do I feel like somebody just stole my girlfriend?" Because we did such a good job that we could move on and work with Tajiri and Eddie and wrestle them for the titles. Because me and Danny, we were a good tag team, man. We were good. We were good. We gelled well. We knew how to work. We knew how to wrestle. We knew how to. We were there. We didn't miss a beat. We were on point.
Yeah, I mean, like I said to you earlier, one of the best tag teams probably WWE had back then.
I appreciate that, man. I agree with you 100%.
Who will bring it forward? Who would you? We'll talk about the current day wrestling. Okay. How would you say wrestling is in 2023? How would you say it is as a? How would I say? How would you say How would you say just a sport of wrestling is in general?
Well, it depends on what brand you're watching. If you're watching OVW, I'd say the wrestling is great. It's really good. There's storytelling, there's characters, there's build, there's elongated storylines, not just shotgun storylines. Every match that's out there has a reason. It's put in its place for a reason, and people are wrestling each other for a reason, and everything makes sense. Now, the biggest difference is the athletes here in OVW, are still honing their skills, and some are farther along than others. But still, so, you're not going to get your Eddie Guerrero's wrestling matches all the time and everything, right? Because these athletes are trying to get to that level. And if you watch another brand, one of the bigger brands, I don't see a lot of storylines, and I just see a lot of trampoline, Cirque du Soleil, video game wrestling, where athletes are just doing stuff to do stuff, and there's no reason and there's no why. They're just doing stuff to do stuff, instead of making everything they do mean something and actually try to make these people believe that this stuff is really a competition, and it really does hurt. They just go out and do, and I just shake my head and go, okay, but that's what they're selling. That's what they're selling the people. So that's their brand. Then you got another company that is out there that is doing things, trying to do things the right way and telling stories and having good matches and stuff like that. But still, because I'm old school, I'm an old school wrestler guy, and I've been told, "Oh, you're stuck in the past. You gotta evolve. You gotta roll with the punches." Well, I agree with that to an extent, but you know what? There's no one reinventing the wheel. The wheel's round and it's a circle and it rolls, right? There's no reinventing that. It's still a wheel, no matter what color paint you put on it, no matter whatever glitter you put on it, doesn't matter. It's still a wheel. So basically what I'm saying is, my opinion about some of the wrestling today is it's not what I used to do back in 2005. It's a little different, because when I wrestled back there, everything I did was done for a reason, and I just didn't do stuff because it was a cool looking move to get a ooh. I did stuff to pull emotion from people and make them want to come back and see me again, either see me win or see me get my butt kicked. That's what I did. I feel the wrestling today, people are just doing stuff to come out to see a cool move. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, the good thing about wrestling these days, you've got. I mean, I grew up with WWE, like the Ruthless Aggression era and stuff like that, and I feel. But this is just me for WWE. I feel like it's gone from being like Willie Austin and The Rock and everything, like where pretty much grown men love it,
right?
To it being for kids now. That's what I feel like WWE is now. Obviously, you still get the adults and everything that like it, but I feel like it's more aimed at the kids, which is nothing wrong with that. But I mean, we know what you do. You know what WWE used to be, and to me, that is WWE, and that'll forever be that. Some of WWE, what it is now, is still good, but I mean, you can't change the past. But
it's getting better. I've watched some WWE, and I give Triple H kudos.
He's doing all good.
He's doing an amazing job, I think, with turning things around. I like the fact that he brought back. I was a huge fan of this because I grew up watching the what era would it have been? The Attitude Era, but the era before that, where there were bigger than life characters, when they would come in and you would have videos introducing a wrestler before he gets to the arena, so he's already a star when he gets there. I see Triple H because I just watched SmackDown and Raw this past week, and they kind of are introducing people like that. I love that. I always thought that was awesome. I would love to do that in OVW, but the problem is when you do that for somebody here in OVW, they're just not ready. You know what I mean? And you don't want to set somebody up for failure. But maybe that one guy will come in and that'll happen for. But I'm really enjoying watching WWE these days. They're really turning it around.
It's gotten a lot better in the last 2 years, but I mean, like previous to that, I think
last year, in my opinion,
pretty much before that, I think it was just same, different day. Do you know what I mean with WWE?
Yeah, it was regurgitated wrestling. Is what I thought.
Like you with OVW, there's storylines and stuff and there's progression and stuff. Yeah. But with WWE back like a couple of years ago, they were just throwing any wrestler in with a match. Like sometimes if they just for no reason. Do you know what I mean? And it just gripped me. I didn't like it. But
you have to have a why. You've got to answer that question of why. Why is this happening?
Yeah.
And why is this person involved? Why is this person doing this? Instead of just having a random person come in, around and jump somebody and throw them around. Where'd he come from? Why is he there? What's he got to do with anything? And then you don't explain it,
Sorry, you first.
With OVW, Al, I feel like OVW does such a good job. And I'm biased. Okay. I'm biased because I'm part of it. But I feel like we do a good job answering the why things are happening, and even the athletes in the ring wrestling their match, telling a story and why they're doing this. They're doing this because of this, and they're doing this. And I'm talking about in the ring wrestling. And it's with younger experienced athletes. Sometimes you miss the mark, or they almost get it because they're still learning. And when you watch OVW, you'll see that they're good, but they're just not quite there. But you can become a fan of somebody before they get to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about today's society and everything, you've got Impact, TNA now, you've got OVW, you've got WWE, you got AEW. One thing I like AEW for so many reasons. I feel like Tony Khan is doing a good job. He gets a lot of slate and everything, but I feel like he's doing a good job because of it's like WCW in its own ways. I feel like it's a mix of WCW, WWE, and Impact a little bit, from TNA from back in the day. I feel like it's just molded into one. But the problem with companies these days, I think like wrestling companies, is I can give you some scenarios of people from WWE and AEW who are very talented wrestlers and good on the mic and this and that. I could just everything. And they're just signed and they don't get used. And it's like, I feel like it's just a waste of talent. It's like I'll name a few people off the top of my head. The WWE, you've got Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, or whatever he's called. Him who's got with a Scarlet. He, unbelievable talent in NXT, really good at what Triple H did for him and everything, built him up. And then he's on the main roster and he's rarely seen. I mean, you've got Ricochet.
Timing. Everything in wrestling, timing is everything, and you just gotta wait it out. I'm glad AEW is here. Don't get me wrong. I may not be a fan of some of the stuff that I see on there, but I'm glad it's here because yin and yang. Every positive needs. That's not a good explanation, but everybody needs competition. And I would say AEW is as close competition to the WWE as you can get. And plus, if there's more places for wrestlers to perform and wrestle, then great. There's more places for people to have a job. So I'm glad it's here. I'm glad TNA is here or Impact. I'm glad AEW is here. I'm glad, Raw has or WWE has Raw, SmackDown, and NXT because then that's 3 brands. There's more places for people to go. I'm glad. I love OVW. OVW's here, or MLW, GLCW, other organizations, smaller organizations across the country. I'm glad all of them are here because there's more places for people to go and wrestle.
Yeah. Well, sorry. What was your opinion of CM Punk going back to WWE?
I think it's great. People have their opinion about CM Punk. I've never had any issues with CM Punk. Yeah, he's his own person, and you either like him or you don't. But that's just one person's opinion about another. I think that I don't know what all went on when he was at AEW. I don't know any of that story because I wasn't there and I didn't talk to anybody that knew anything. All I know is the WWE. I think the WWE picking him up was a good move because as soon as he signed, he went straight to the #1 merch sell. I think boom, skyrocket. He's #1 on merch sell. I think the WWE ratings went through the roof on when he was showing up there, and I think that he will help sell pay-per-views. I think my opinion, on a business sense, we're talking business, was a smart move.
A very smart move. I mean,
AEW, if they could have, should have kept him and utilized him and made money off of him, but I guess they just couldn't come to terms and just couldn't work together. So it is what it is,
I mean, he puts people in seats, doesn't he?
He definitely puts asses in seats, as we say in wrestling. Yes.
Yeah, he definitely does that. He's one of the best talkers on the mic as well.
He's very good on the mic. He's always been good on the mic. He's one of the top guys on the stick in the sport of wrestling.
Yeah, I have nothing but. I mean, Punk. I think Punk's like you mentioned earlier, old school.
Mm-hmm.
As in takes no, and he's a people's person. As in, he'll help anyone out. he'll critique and everything. This is just what I'm getting. Is it because you see social media after events, he takes pictures with fans.
Yeah.
He does all the stuff. He's nice. A lot of people have more good things to say about him than bad. But then you're always going to get the odd person that don't like him or this or that.
Well, anybody in the spotlight's going to get that. You know what I mean? Because no matter what sport it is, nobody wants to see somebody pass them up and get more famous, make more money, take my spot. Nobody really wants to see that, you know. But it's just the way the way of wrestling, you know. It's just the way it is. Stars come along and they pass people up. Stars fall and they pass those same people going down. So, you know, just my opinion, or not my opinion, my advice to anybody when you get into this, just be humble, treat everybody like you would want them to treat you. Because like I said, you're going to pass people on your way up and you're going to pass those same people on your way back down. And, you know, as long as you treat everybody fair, treat everybody with kindness and be humble and not treat anybody like you wouldn't want them to treat you, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. Who would you say would be the perfect person to dethrone Roman Reigns? Can you see it happening anytime soon?
I think it's almost time, and I think you may have the right person in WWE now to do it. With CM Punk, I think it's my opinion. A lot of people will be like, no, you know, whatever, but somebody's got to do it, and I think Punk's got enough. He's got enough fan base behind him and enough steam behind him that he could go into the Royal Rumble, win that, and everybody thinks he's going to go after Rollins because of their story that they've got going on. But he may go to, I don't. This is me just you know, guessing. But if he was to, I think he could be the one. You know, but you know what? There's an interesting story with him and Rollins. There's an interesting story with him and Roman. Either way, whoever, if he would face, would draw big ratings and at a pay-per-view. Whether it be Roman or Rollins, they'll be sellouts. Whoever he goes after.
Very much so.
Yeah, and it'd be good business either way, both sides.
Oh, easy business. To be honest, it'd be a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, whatever they decide they want to do, they have a win-win situation right there.
Yeah, I mean, best thing WWE ever did was get Cody and Punk.
They got them both, I know, right?
That's
I mean, you could have Cody going against Rollins and then Punk going against Reigns.
AEW's biggest nightmare.
I mean, come on. And then Cody becomes a champion. Punk becomes a champion, and they were both at AEW. I mean, man, that'd be the biggest. You know,
one of them,
right? Read between the lines. You know what I mean?
So, is there anything you can talk about in 2024?
Oh man, let's see. I don't know if we're getting a season 2 yet on Netflix. Everybody, we have our fingers crossed. We hope so. We will be going on tour. That's about all I can. I give a little bit more. That's about all I can say about that. OVW will be going on tour, and January 6th, we have Mick Foley is coming to or January 4th, Mick Foley is coming to our TV show. He's got something he wants to announce. I have no idea what it is. I'm not privy to that information. Only Al Snow knows and Mick Foley. So that'll be very interesting. So I'm kind of looking forward to me as a fan, like, oh, Mick's coming? What's going on? I didn't know that until I saw it on our TV show. I was like, what? So Al kept that secret. And I don't know what Mick's going to say. I don't know what he's going to do, but he said he's got a big announcement, so we'll see what happens. So I'm looking forward to that. If nobody knew that. And how long's it been since Mick Foley's been on TV or been around? Been a while, right?
Quite well, yeah. I'm thinking that quite a while.
Yeah. So that'll help us out. What else can I talk about?
Are you back in the UK next year at all?
There's been talks before I hang up the boots for good, for real, coming over and doing a little tour. Yes, there have been talks. I can say that.
I'll definitely keep that one in mind.
I got a guy that helps me out with my tour dates and stuff. He lives in Leeds. So where are you based out of?
So I'm based in Lincolnshire.
And where is that located, Lincolnshire?
That's not far from Yorkshire, Sheffield.
Okay. All right.
If you're familiar.
I am. Yep. Been there.
Where did you say your mate is?
Leeds. I think it's just east of Manchester, I think.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Leeds.
Yeah.
Very, very familiar with Leeds. Is he like your promoter over here in the UK?
Say again?
Is he like your promoter over here in the UK?
Yeah,
like
he helps me set stuff up. You know, he's familiar with a lot of the promotions and stuff over there, and will help set up my travel and everything. You know, but you know, I consider him kind of a friend too. Oh, look at everybody! What you got?
My phone's about to die.
Yeah, we got another visitor. He wanted to come up here and sit on my lap. He wants to talk too.
I see.
I don't know how professional this is, but he's my buddy. What do you think, Bobby? I gave him a bath. I gave him a bath this morning, and I can't get these tear stains off of that. Washed and scrubbed. What do you think, Bobby? Look, who's that? Who's that? Look, is that you? That's you, buddy. Look, there's you up there. Yeah, there's you. Are you tired? You want to take a nap? You need to take a nap? All right. Yeah, give me that, buddy. Yeah. Take a little break while he plugs his phone in. Yeah, my buddy. Oh, you getting some salt? You like that, buddy? You get some salty. Yes. You're my buddy. Hey, thanks, bud. Oh, yeah. No bite. Yeah, no bite. What do you think? Let me put you down. Little buddy. Yeah. You my buddy. You getting tired? You sleepy? Look there. Look at all that. Where'd he go? He left me. He's gone.
I'm ever so sorry about that. I really am.
No worries, buddy.
My phone completely died. I'm generally.
On borrowed time. All right, Bob, here, let me finish up.
As soon as, honestly, I'm ever so sorry about that.
Nah, no worries. We'll just pick back up where we left off, buddy.
Yeah. So I'll ask you one more question and then we'll wrap it up. Sorry, honestly, I'm ever so sorry about that.
No worries, man. No worries at all.
So who would you say is your Mount Rushmore of wrestling, your 4 favorites?
My 4 favorites that I've wrestled, or my 4 favorites of all time?
All time.
Well, my 4 favorites, obviously, Scott Hall.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect, Stone Cold Steve Austin, obviously, because I know him personally, and he's entertaining and he's fun. And the fourth one is, that's a tough one because there's so many that could be in that fourth spot. So many. I'll have to pick one. Eddie?
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch that I just had to pick one who was my favorite, one of my most favorite to wrestle, and that was Eddie.
Yeah. Eddie's on another level. Even all them 4 that you've just picked, unbelievable talents in their own right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean,
my Mount Rushmore, man.
I mean, it's a very good one.
Now, to have wrestled, obviously, Eddie, Chris Benoit, another guy by the name of Nick Dinsmore, who was an OVW original. And my favorites to wrestle. Wow, that's Eddie and Chris. Nick. Wow. There's several on that fourth one, tier 2. Who could be the... You know, I really had fun wrestling every time I wrestled them, and it's a tag team, was Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty.
Too cool.
Yes. You talk about having a night off and just being just entertaining, taking wrestling out of wrestling and being entertaining and letting them do their thing. And talk about it, it was easy, super easy. So there'd be 2 heads on that fourth one, you know, together.
Thank you anyway for coming on. I do really appreciate it.
And you're welcome, man. Thanks for having me. And I hope answered a lot of your questions.
You really are.
I hope maybe this helps get out there that I'm not retired yet. I won't be retiring.
Believe me, I'll definitely be putting it out there.
I appreciate that, man, Jordan. Thank you so much for your time. And
cheers, Doug. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being a fan, man. Appreciate it.
It's all right. Thank you for making my childhood. I appreciate that.
You got it, bud.
Catch you a bit. Stay safe. Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you too, man, and Happy New Year, okay?
Happy New Year. Looking forward to next year.
OVW. Huge next year.
I can't wait. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Got it, bud.
Take care, man.